got into this because I've always been into cars and racing. This is the way I can do it without breaking the bank. It's an adrenaline rush. You're sitting on the grid, you're feeling the vibration, your heart starts racing. Rally, drifting, Formula One, NASCAR, we're going to be on top of it and take good care of it.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Here at KK Woodscapes, we only work with the finest woods, the finest tools. We sand the wood here at KK Woodscapes. We stir the paint with a wooden stick here at KK Woodscapes. And then we brush the wood with a wooden brush here at KK Woodscapes. And when it's all said and done, we have these perfectly manicured nails. Put the plaques in the trophies, in the envelopes, ship them to your box, and on your way to you to commemorate your special day. Got wood, KK Woodscapes.
Hello and welcome to another night, a special night of the Moonlight Racing League Thursday night thriller O'Reilly Series. Tonight we're at Michigan for 125 laps. Championship 6. We have made it to the end of the season, and tonight will determine who walks away with the championship this season. Looking at our Championship 6 drivers, we have Joseph Volpus, Justin Parham, Jay Stinson, Dalton Connor, Matt Novella, and Kenneth Redinger. We have about 5 minutes left in practice, and there's a few guys on this list that I have yet to see in the session, so hopefully they're able to make it. Right now we got Dalton Connor and Matt Novella in there, along with Joseph Volpus, turning some laps. This is MRL Broadcasting, and my name is Buddy the Professor. I will be bringing all the live action tonight as we look at our race info here. We are at Michigan International Speedway. It's a 2-mile D oval. We have 125 laps. Stage lap will come on lap 100. They have 3 tire sets in total with a fuel tank capacity of 70% fuel. Looks like it's a cloudy day here in Michigan, air temp 76. Watching practice a little bit, it seemed like some people getting a little bit loose on those cold tires, so we'll have to see how that plays out during the race. See if I can get some people on track here. Andrew Davis, been a few weeks since I've seen him on track. We know the air temp 76. Look at the track temp right fast and see what that's. 86 track temp currently. We are in the middle of the afternoon. It looks like 2 p.m. as practice is getting around to wrapping up. Watch Jack Sanders make some laps. As far as what people are doing during practice here. Look at their best lap times. You see Steve Lewis in the 88, currently out on track. He's sitting on top of the leaderboard with a 38.6. Followed by Joseph Volpus, one of the Championship 6 drivers, with a 38.625, just right behind Steve Lewis. Once we have about a minute and a half or so left in practice, we'll go to the national anthem and then kick off group qualifying to see where all these guys are going to line up for tonight's race and the end of the season. John Beverly out on track. Justin Parham making his way out on track, one of those other Championship 6 drivers. So it looks like everyone's here for the Championship 6. I see Kenneth Redinger in there, Justin Parham. I don't see Jay Stinson yet. Hopefully we're not down a guy. Oh, there's Jay Stinson. Hopped in the session. Joshua Barr, another one in the session. I'll delay a little bit and take it down to a minute or so as we see Justin Parham coming around turn 2, going down the backstretch with Steve Lewis on his inside. See what he's able to put down for first lap here. And then we'll switch over to the national anthem. Justin Parham cuts that apron there and is able to lay down a 38.9. Track might have slowed down a little bit from the beginning of practice, or Parham's just getting a feel for the track, but we'll head on over to the national anthem and we'll pick this up once that comes to a close. And welcome back to the Moonlight Racing League Thursday Night Thriller O'Reilly Series. We have qualifying underway here. Joseph Volpus out on track, one of your Championship 6 drivers. Look where people's laying down some times here before we get into the meat and potatoes of the night. This is group qualifying, so all these guys out on track together. And before we even get into the race like last week, I need to make sure my trading paints is working. which I do believe it is. Because last week was kind of a shenanigan fest, as we see Justin Parham, Dalton Connor jumping to the top of the leaderboard with Connor 2 100ths. No, 3/10 behind Justin Parham. Justin Parham, your current leader. Joseph Volpus behind Connor by 9 100ths. Steve Lewis jumping to the second position currently. Michigan's one of those super fast tracks. It's really wide. It's really fast. Might be able to use a little bit of draft to your advantage, as we see a flip-flop there at the top of the leaderboard between Davis and Volpus. Volpus to the top of the leaderboard with 38.665. A little bit of camera shake there, as we see some of these guys still trying to lay down a lap time. 35 back there getting loose on one of the corners behind Steve Lewis. Kenneth Redinger, super dominant week last week at Charlotte. Another one of our Championship 6 contenders. Be interesting to see how he does, as he's currently sitting third on the leaderboard. Only 2 100ths back off to Davis and Volpus. Matt Novella making his way. Oh, rear brake bias. Spins it a little loose. Another one of those Championship 6 contenders. And I'll go ahead and bring that up again. I have to make this small, just so we can get a look at who we're going for here. So we got a few people in chat or watching the stream right now. Who do you guys think is going to take it out of this group right here? We got Joseph Volpus, Justin Parham, Jay Stinson, Dalton Connor, Matt Novella, Kenneth Redinger are our Championship 6 finalists for this inaugural season in this format using the O'Reilly Series car. Have quite a few guys out here to close out the season. Looks like 15 guys. Danny Sanchez out on track. Nice to see him able to make it. Thought I saw where he listed himself as not going to be available tonight. On the old Discord is Justin Parham sitting at the top of the leaderboard currently, making his way into pits as we hear someone going through the grass. This is open qualifying. They got about 5, maybe a little under 5 minutes left. Everyone just trying to get the best lap they can currently. Matt Novella currently sitting in 8th on the qualifying tower there. Jay Stinson sitting in 9th, coming out of the pits. John Beverly sitting in 10th. So far, we've only had 10 cars put a lap down, or I should say put a time down, but we have a couple other guys here that haven't put a time down yet, making their way out on track with Jonathan Wright in the 04. Danny Sanchez might be his first out lap. This might be his first time lap here. Have to see. This is a really fun track to race. A little bit concrete, cheese grater, Seeing a few guys getting loose here during qualifying on those cold tires. See what Danny's able to do here. Danny moves up to 9th position on the tower, and looks like we've had a few other guys hop in here. Andrew Bolander making an appearance. Tony Iverson making an appearance in 13. Should be a fun race at Michigan. Still got about 3 minutes left in open qualifying. Jonathan Wright moves up to the 12th position. Justin Parham still holding strong on that pole position currently, though anything can change. Joseph Volpus about 10th behind him, and Joshua Barr moves up to 3rd position, about 100th off of Volpus for the 2nd starting position. Got a few more viewers in the chat, so I do want to welcome you. My name is Buddy the Professor, and this is MRL Broadcasting. If you're looking for a league to race, go ahead and hop over to moonlightracingle.com. We race Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. This Thursday night thriller is the O'Reilly Series, which tonight is the season finale of. Monday night is off-season currently with the Next Gen. Tuesdays are 3 or 4 weeks in the Throwdown Truck Series. Wednesday is an earlier time slot truck series, is getting ready to wrap up their season. And then Friday we have the ARCA series that just started up last Friday. You can go to that website. The link is in the description, and hop over to our Discord and find out all of our league information and all that stuff. Everything's always free to race. We don't charge any entry fees or anything for the season. Just all free for fun. Everyone's just looking to have a good time. I was looking on Discord earlier, and it does look like we have crossed that 250 member mark finally, so that's kind of an exciting thing for the Moonlight Racing League. Got about a minute or so left in qualifying, and so far this timing tower is staying pretty stable here as we see Eric Gamble out on track in a very colorful 77. See what he's able to lay down for a lap time. Looks like good enough for 13th currently. Got about 16 or 17 guys in session currently. Almost everyone's laid down a lap time except for Jack Sanders, Tony Iverson, and Andrew Bolander. Qualifying should be wrapping up here, and then we'll go over to our starting grid. I would see Joshua Barr making his way down pit road, maybe practicing pit entry a little bit, which probably isn't a bad idea. See Andrew Davis hop up to the 2nd position. Only 7 100ths behind Barham for the pole. Looks like the qualifying session is finishing up here. Not sure why my timing is... Oh, there we go. All right. Now we can kick it on over to our grid. See how things are going to shake down tonight for the season finale at Michigan. Starting tonight's season championship race, on pole is Justin Parham with Grandstand Racing in the number 19. Justin Parham is one of the Championship 6 drivers. To his outside, starter in P2, leading the outside lane. Andrew Davis in the number 33. On your second row is Joseph Volpes, Championship 6 contender in the number 98. To his outside, Joshua Barr in the 35. Starting in row 6, Kenneth Redinger with Grandstand Racing in the number 42 as one of your Championship 6 drivers. And to his outside in 6th position is Steve Lewis in the number 98. Starting in 7th position, Dalton Connor. I'm picking up all of our Championship 6 drivers for these first 4 rows are all on the inside, as Dalton Connor starting in 7th place in the number 93. It is outside in 8th place as Matt Novella, the last Championship 6 driver, starting in the 8th position in the number 56. In row 5, we have Jonathan Wright. To his outside, John Beverly in the number 17. Row 6, Danny Sanchez in the number 62. To his outside in 12th position, Jay Stinson, which I'll correct myself here. Jay Stinson, I think, is our last Championship 6 driver tonight in the number 18. Go over another page here. Starting in row 7, 13th position, Eric Gambrell in the number 77. 14th position, Andrew Bolander in the number 8. Rounding out our field in the 8th row, starting in 15th position is Tony Iverson in the number 13, and Jack Sanders to his outside in the number 7. And that will do it for that. And it looks like we are already pacing. Whew. Now it's time to get this thing started here. 125 laps around Michigan International Speedway. Stage will come at lap 100, and then we'll have a 122, 123 lap shootout to the end. Of those Championship 6 drivers, whoever finishes ahead of the pack will be crowned your champion tonight. Justin Parham on the inside, Andrew Davis on the outside. Pace car comes off and makes his way down pit road, getting close to the restart zone, and we are green from Michigan International Speedway in the Moonlight Racing League Thursday Night Thriller O'Reilly Series. The whole field gets a pretty decent, not really anyone getting a jump or a drive away. 2x2, Justin Parham takes the lead off of turn 2. Joseph Volpes to the inside of Andrew Davis. Coming off of 2 down the back stretch, it looks like everyone's kind of trying to... Now, Volpes is still down there on the inside. Redinger back there side by side. Justin Parham. Andrew Davis trying to get to the inside of Parham. Let's see who's going to lead this first lap. It looks like Davis by a nose is going to lead lap 1 here at Michigan International Speedway. Kenneth Redinger to the inside of Dalton Connor back there, as Connor's way up on the high side. Redinger going to be able to squeeze his nose up. Dalton gets a little bit loose. Matt Novella back there getting pushed by Jay Stinson. 2x2 action back here as Andrew Davis and Justin Parham are going toe-to-toe here, as Andrew Davis is going to lead that lap. Parham gets him a little bit on the outside. Parham might have the momentum here on the exit, but I don't know what running that outside is going to do to the tires. Michigan is one of those wide tracks where you can kind of run wherever you want, as Justin Parham takes over the lead, and Davis dips in line with Parham and Bulpus. Kenneth Redinger to the inside. Steve Lewis trying to take over fourth position is Joshua Barr. Oh, no, that wasn't Steve Lewis. I think that's Joshua Barr. Kenneth Redinger going toe-to-toe here for fifth position, as Redinger has a little bit of an advantage on the inside, but Barr's going to have the momentum on the outside down the backstretch. Still got the front of this line, front of these guys kind of single filed out a little bit as Davis gets a little bit of a run on the inside, able to get to the inside of Parham. These guys are just tossing the lead back and forth here as Davis is able to clear Parham, going to be able to slide up in front of him and take over the lead. New race leader from Michigan is Andrew Davison, number 33. Look back through the field, see if we got some side-by-side action. We have Jack Sanders back here side-by-side with Joshua Wright. Or Jonathan Wright. I am so sorry. A little bit of a battle still going on between Kenneth Redinger and Joshua Barr. Redinger is able to take over the fifth position. Parham's sticking right with Davis here. Looks like a majority of the field has kind of single filed out and staying calm and collected. We got a lot of laps here. It's a 2-mile track. Settle in. Just click laps off, as it looks like Matt Novella is having a little bit of a challenge from Jonathan Wright as Jonathan Wright moves to his inside. Matt Novella being one of those Championship 6 drivers. I think he's conserving tires, trying to race a smart race. It's a long race. You got limited sets of tires. No reason to try to go out and do anything crazy. As we have Jay Stinson looking to the inside of Dalton Connor. Jay Stinson trying to take over the 7th position. Dalton Connor able to kind of send it in there on entry, being on that higher line. Oh man, Stinson got a little bit tight, almost pushed up into Connor. Andrew Bolander making some noise here. Stinson having to back out of that kind of hurt that momentum a little bit, I think, which is also going to bring John Beverly up. Eric Gambrell running that inside. Stinson just lost all of his momentum. Going to have to go and take a little bit of patience here and not let that get the best of you. You just got to knuckle down and focus on the race. Is still really early, as potentially a 3-wide situation almost there between Bolander, Connor, and Joshua Barr, I believe. Or that, yeah, I do believe that was Joshua Barr. What's up, Magic? How's it going? Just kicking this championship race off here. As we see Andrew Bolander working to the inside of Dalton Connor for 7th position. Connor's all the way up there against the wall. He's going to have a huge run down the backstretch, but that inside line is just able to still carry that exit speed. Looking up at the front, it looks like we have a pretty sizable battle going on. Joseph Opus being patient, but we have Andrew Davis and Justin Parham going back and forth. So far, these first 11 laps or so, wow, that is an atrocious camera right there. These first 11 laps or so that we've been through, Davis and Parham has been kind of trading it back and forth, switching the lead. That's awesome, Magic. Hey, anything to get you back on the track, that is exactly what works. Is we have a little bit of a battle here between Volpus and Parham. These two guys are part of our championship 6. So essentially, being on lap 12 of 125 here, this is the race for the championship at this current extremely early stage of this race, as Volpus just not able to carry that momentum on the bottom. Kenneth Redinger, our super dominant driver, has made it up to Volpus and Parham themselves. So right now we have a 3-way battle for the championship currently, as Volpus dives to the inside of Justin Parham. I'm sure Volpus was looking in the mirror and seeing Redinger come in that number 24 Pepsi machine and said, "It is go time, because I do not want him to get ahead of me and drive away with this thing." Redinger and Parham, both of those guys, they race together a whole lot. They're always in the same team chat and everything. So Volpus kind of lone man out on a totem pole here, with both of those guys being hooked up, as Volpus is able to get on the back bumper of Andrew Davis. A little bit of exciting battle here at the front between Davis, Volpus, as Volpus looks to the inside. See if Davis is able to carry the momentum on the exit. It looks like Volpus is able to make it stick. Going to be side by side. Oh, Davis has just a little bit more momentum down that front stretch to carry, and see that difference that it makes up at the end of the front stretch, as we have Redinger looking to the inside of Parham to take over third position. Redinger and Parham being side by side, even though they're teammates, is kind of going to let Davis and Volpus pull away a little bit, depending on how long they want to drag this battle out. Two teammates fighting over third place here. Parham's able to make it stick on the outside. Oh, Magic, that the same type of situation happened to me whenever I bought my 80/20 rig, where I waited too long to order it, and then I had to wait for it to come back in stock. Volpus still looking to the inside of Andrew Davis. Parham and Redinger sorted out, got back in line with each other. Redinger might not necessarily be trying to get to the inside of Parham. He might be just trying to find that clean air. Steve Lewis gets to run on Redinger, looks to the inside. Not sure if he's going to try to do anything with it here. Volpus backs the corner up a little bit, goes really low. Parham looks to the inside, or the middle. Volpus is able to slide job Davis. Davis is going to have the momentum on the outside, but it looks like Davis is going to opt to stay in tow and push Volpus. Volpus takes over the race lead and is leading the championship 6 currently. Oh, it looks like Parham's in the wall a little bit. Redinger gets by on the inside. Steve Lewis gets by on the inside. I don't think he hit the wall hard enough to do any damage to it, but he was definitely up in the wall. That kind of put Parham back a couple spots. All these guys able to try to make their way on the inside. Bolander tucks back in line. Does not look like it hurt Parham's car any, but he was definitely scraping the wall a little bit. Volpus moves to the very top of the track. Andrew Bolander down there running that middle line. Gets a pretty decent run on Parham. Opts to not do anything with it here on the front stretch of lap 19 of 125. Bolander to the inside, going to get door to door with Parham possibly on this exit here. Parham gets a little bit tight. Bolander holds on to it, able to make it stick side by side into turn 3. This is a race for 5th position as Bolander gets a little bit of a nose ahead. Not sure he's going to be able to clear it enough to slide up in front of Parham. Parham's able to keep the momentum going on the outside and keep it door to door. I think I see another battle up there. Was that? Oh no, Justin Parham and Andrew Bolander are still kind of stuck side by side. Parham going to have the momentum on the outside. Andrew Bolander tucks back in line. Joseph Volpus is currently still our leader, not really pulling away. Andrew Davis, Kenneth Redinger, they're kind of maintaining that gap and that presence in Volpus's mirror. So right now, the one benefit that Volpus has is clean air, I think. But this track is so wide, you can kind of run wherever you want to. They only have 2 sets of tires. Like they had the set on the tire that the car that they started the race with, but they only have 2 sets sitting in the pit, so they're going to have to be careful on how they choose to do their pit cycles or run out of tires. They are on a 70% fuel tank, even though I do not have any inkling at all as to how far that gets them lap-wise. Oh, Brandon. A sidekick. Oh, we have a caution on the track. Eric Gambrell has crashed. Oh, my lordy. This is going to... So, Tony Iverson was the first car lap down. And let's go back and see what that wreck was. Go in slow-mo, because I have no idea what I'm looking for. Change the camera here. Eric Gambrell to the outside of the 35, which is Joshua Barr. Oh, no. Looks like Joshua Barr got tight. We'll rewind that and change camera. Rewind. And Barr Chase, because Barr Chase never lies to anything that happens. I think what we're going to see here is Joshua Barr get tight, drift up the track, maybe a little bit of net code. Looks like everyone avoided Gambrell. I don't think he even hit anything really, so hopefully that don't hurt him too bad as we see the whole entire field coming down pit road. Oh, no, you're good, Brandon. The last few weeks, me and Magic has had our conversations going on and all that with everything that is everything going on track. Super fun watching chat and seeing what people say as we do see the whole entire field coming down pit road. Except for Tony Iverson. Tony Iverson going to get his lucky dog, get his lap back here. Probably didn't make the grid. Something like that. Got shuffled to a lap down. once all these guys come out of pits, we'll look at the pit stuff and see what actually everyone did. I don't think Gambrel got any damage on that. Just a little bit of netcode tap. Maybe bar coming up just a little bit like Brandon alluded to. Just a little bit of slide to hit the wall, and everyone was able to avoid him. Everyone out on track now. Joseph Volpus is your leader. Kenneth Redinger, Justin Parham, Andrew Bolander, Steve Lewis is going to round out your top 5. Now, let's see what people did on pit stops. 2 tires, 2 tires, 2 tires, 2 tires. The first car that took 4 is Andrew Davis, currently sitting in 9th position. And it looks like everyone else except for Danny Sanchez is all 2 tires. A whole host of 2 tires. So Magic, Brandon is the admin of this series. So if you have any questions at all, he'll be able to answer them for you way better than I can during a broadcast. A couple weeks ago, Magic was asking about our league and stuff, and I was talking to him about how it's a pretty laid back place, everything. We don't charge anything. It's just a fun group of guys, and we have hit 250 people in our Discord for the Moonlight Racing League. As it looks like Joseph Volpus has opted to take the outside, giving Kenneth Redinger the inside, Justin Parham, Andrew Bolander, Jay Stinson, Steve Lewis. We have all of our Championship 6 drivers within the top 10 currently in this front little pack here. So we'll have to see. I think it might be a little bit too early to take the reins off and send it. We still have 100 laps, 101 laps, something like that. See how these guys decide to approach this after this little bit of a caution, get a little bit of feel for what the car wants to do, and see how they handle it. Pace car making the hard left down pit road. Joseph Volpus is going to be your control car on the outside. Kenneth Redinger on the inside. Joseph Volpus off. Green flag is in the air. We're back green from Michigan International Speedway. Joseph Volpus gets a pretty decent jump being that control car. Andrew Bolander ripping the outside here, going to put Kenneth Redinger in a little bit of a situation where he's not going to be able to carry the momentum. We're 3 wide behind that with Steve Lewis, Matt Novella. Everyone's spreading out here like it's Auto Club. Whole bunch of changing. I'm going to have to let it settle down a little bit to figure out what the heck is going on. It looks like that outside lane just has the momentum that way more than that middle or that inside does, as we see Dalton Connor way up there scraping the wall. Going to lose a little bit of momentum and time to that wall acting like a little bit of a break, as we see Joseph Volpus falls back a little bit. Oh, just 3 wide for the lead. I need a better, wider camera so I can see what the heck's going on. Andrew Davis on the inside takes over the lead. Andrew Bolander in second. Joseph Volpus in third. Volpus, Redinger, Parham, Stinson are part of your Championship 6. So I think right now you got to be thinking about the season-long championship. We know Redinger in the 24 super strong, as we see Joshua Barr on the inside of Jay Stinson, Steve Lewis behind Barr. Matt Novella to the inside of Steve Lewis. I think everything kind of settled down here from these front pack. Andrew Davis was that car that took 4 tires, though. I think that's what's allowing him to kind of up and drive away from Bolander and Volpus and Redinger, and I don't remember who that other person was that took 4 or where they're at currently on track, but everything's kind of settled out for the moment, so I think we're going to do a little quick crank it up session so I can refresh my beverage, and then we will be right back. All right, we are back as it looks like Joshua Barr working to the inside of Volpus. Yeah, no, Brandon. I think. Let me pull that back up right fast. As we have Joshua Barr putting Joseph Volpus kind of in a position, but Volpus has a pretty decent lead over Kenneth Redinger and Justin Parham. We do have our Championship 6 guys currently running in third with Joseph Volpus moving back to Joshua Barr still working on Volpus, but I'll just go ahead and pull this back up right fast. So we had Andrew Davis on 4 tires here. And then Danny Sanchez was the other car that took 4. Looks like based on pit times and everything, everyone else would have been 2 tires or so. So I think that's what we're seeing. A combination of clean air and 4 tires is what Andrew Davis is working with, and has been able to pull out about a 3-second gap over Andrew Bolander. And I really think that's just a tire difference that we're seeing. Which right now, the real race, like that's a race in itself for the race win. But we have Kenneth Redinger, Joseph Volpus. Matt Novella has been able to move past Justin Parham right behind Kenneth Redinger. But we have Volpus, Redinger, Novella, Parham, Stinson, and Dalton Connor back in 15th is our Championship 6 guys that try to keep track of how they're going to play out as Matt Novella looking to the inside of Parham. And are Gamble able to slide job a little bit, but don't go all the way up there right on exit. That's going to put Danny Sanchez kind of trapped there on the bottom. Danny Sanchez looking to the inside of Eric Gambrell. As Steve Lewis back there also in a side-by-side battle with Tony Iverson. I have a few different cars that I'm not used to seeing on tracks. It's taking me a little bit to identify them. Not sure what happened to John, showing him out on the tower. I didn't see him be involved in that wreck with Gambrel and Barr. That's an unfortunate deal, as Joseph Wolf is still just leading the championship 6 here, currently sitting in 3rd place. Behind him, Matt Novella gets the wall a little bit. That's going to hurt. Oh, Matt Novella's spinning. Does not look like it's going to be a caution because of it being off the racing surface. Spun through the infield. We'll go back and see if we can see what happened to Matt. Looks like he might have just got the wall and... Oh, let's change cameras here. Where's my... There we go. I think he's going to hit the wall here. Come down off of the wall, trying to get it out of there. Gambrel's there, just ping-pong a little bit. Slide through the infield. Gets it under control. Does not bring out a caution with it being off of the racing surface. That's really going to hurt Novella. He's going to need a caution to rebound from that. Joseph Volpus, still the leader in our championship 6. Andrew Bolander is our biggest mover of the race, currently up 12 spots. Danny Sanchez looking to the inside of Volpus. Almost gets a 2-for-1 deal to the inside of Barr as well. Danny Sanchez is another one of those cars on those 4 tires, but he was having to come from the back of the pack instead of starting there towards the front. As Danny Sanchez looking to the inside of Andrew Bolander. This little bit of racing that Sanchez has caused between this group of 5 here. Kenneth Redinger diving to the inside of Barr. Going to be to the rear quarter of Volpus on exit. Right here's the race for the championship on lap 41. I think Redinger's going to dive it in here again. Volpus is going to be able to have the momentum on the outside, I think. Everyone running that higher line should be able to get a little bit of draft help there, but Redinger running the shorter way around the track's able to maintain his position on Volpus. Redinger sends it in there. I would expect not a dramatic slide job, but I would expect Redinger to do just that and slide up in front of Volpus. Andrew Davis takes over the lead of the championship, or Kenneth Redinger takes over the lead of the championship 6 on lap 42. Yeah, that was a really good save by Novella, and unfortunately he really, really badly needs a caution. He's 19 seconds back in bleeding time to Andrew Davis currently. He ricocheted off of a car and a wall and stuff, and he's probably fighting a broken wheel or something, or damaged wheel. Andrew Davis is still our leader with that lead's coming down though. Danny Sanchez is able to close it into 2 seconds. Both of these cars are the cars that took the 4 tires. Kenneth Reddinger looking to the inside of Bolander. Everyone kind of spread out here trying to find where they want to run. And they come back to a single file for the corner. Tony Iverson up 10 spots, currently running in 5th. Joseph Volpus is kind of falling back a little bit to the 7th position. I think some of these guys might be hurting for tires. Justin Parham right on. Justin Parham a little bit loose there behind Volpus. Jay Stinson. Eric Gambrill, who had a little bit of a spin that brought out that caution earlier, right on the tail of Jay Stinson. Danny Sanchez able to close this gap back to the leader by about another half of a second. Currently sitting 1.4 seconds back, 1.5 seconds back. Might be a little bit of a race, or race for the race lead right there before long. And Sanchez kind of bringing Reddinger right along with him. Which we witnessed what Reddinger can do last week at Charlotte. And there was, I don't think anyone had anything for Reddinger last week. There might have been a car to his bar and gets to the inside of Volpus and takes over 6th position. Right now, they are all running. So the leaders are running about 0.2, a tenth faster than the rest of the field with the 4 tires. I do think the tires have maybe equalized a little bit with the 4 compared to the 2. Sanchez is able to close that down to almost just a second gap behind Davis. Even with Sanchez coming through the field, Sanchez might have the better tires, even though they're on the same strategy if he saved a little bit more. But yeah, right now lap times are pretty even between the field. Reddinger and Sanchez are about 3 to 4 tenths faster than Davis is. As we have Kenneth Reddinger looking to the inside of Danny Sanchez take over 2nd spot. Sanchez going to send it on the outside. Not sure if Redinger's going to have the room to clear himself. Oh, maybe that was really close. Reddinger probably could have slid job. I don't even know how you want to say that, but Reddinger is able to take over the position as Andrew Bolander. Oh, what the heck am I looking at here? Tony Iverson able to move up into the 4th position behind Danny Sanchez. Kenneth Reddinger. Oh, that's a Dalton Connor in the pits. Slid through his box a little bit. Wonder if this is going to trigger a whole sequence of pit stops. As we see Iverson, Volpus, all coming down pit road. Davis out, Reddinger still out, Sanchez still out. We are on lap 50 of 100 to the stage break. Not sure what their fuel mileage looks like as far as laps run, but something tells me Jay Sisson coming down pits, Steve Lewis down pit road. we'll wait for this cycle of pit stops to end, and we'll see if people. Actually, I can probably tell right now. 14-second stop for Volpus, 14-second stop for Iverson. I think this is a normal scheduled 4-tire stop, and maybe 50 laps, 49 laps is enough to get to the stage break, and then take your last set during that stage caution. Danny Sanchez coming down pit road. Justin Parham down pit road. Andrew Davis still staying out along with Ken Rediger. Eric Gambrill takes over third. Jack Sanders fourth. Andrew Bolander fifth. As Tony Iverson, being a lap down, trying to get his lap back the hard way. It's kind of weird seeing 224 cars here, and both of them are in different numbers. Redinger should be the 42, and Iverson should be the 13. Oh, man. Brandon, they're all using the wrong numbers. Everyone's using the wrong number. Everyone's fired. Tony Iverson able to get his lap back. Joseph Volpus able to get close to getting his lap back. He's right here working to the outside of Redinger, outside of Davis. Looks like Davis and Redinger might be coming down pit road. Redinger, really smooth entrance. Jack Sanders going to take over the lead. Andrew Bolander second, Jonathan Wright third. These cars here have yet to pit, so they still do need to make their pit stop. And I do believe these are going to be Matt Novella is sitting in the pits. And he's been in the pits for about 20-something seconds. Eric Gambrill coming out of pits. Andrew Bolander, Jonathan Wright making their way down pit road, and Jonathan Wright sends it around, whips it around there on pit entry. Jack Sanders still staying out lap 55, 100 to that stage break. I've seen him do this a few races before where he's able to chop out one of those splash and go pit stops and make it to the end. So it'll be interesting to see if that's something he's trying to play some type of strategy role into that. As Jack Sanders coming down pit road for his scheduled stop. And I think that's going to do it with Joshua Barr being the earliest pitter back on lap 45. Able to cycle out into the lead with a Tony Iverson right on his heels, about a second and a half back. So if we look at that cycle of pit stops that was under green flag, looks like there's still, this time Andrew Davis took 2, if my estimated pit stop time is correct, and the rest of the field took 4. So kind of a flip from what we saw during that caution and everyone pitting, compared to what we're at now, as we see Iverson able to really close that gap up to Barr. About a second gap back to him. Joseph Volpus currently running in third. So the pit cycles kind of shook the field a little bit as far as our championship 6 goes. It's Joseph Volpus, Chase Simpson, Kenneth Redinger, Justin Parham, and Dalton Connor back in 12th with Matt Novella finally made his way back out on the track after 42 seconds in the as a pit stop time. Probably just getting all the damage fixed and out of the way. He did only lose one lap in that exchange with Jonathan Wright. He kind of spun it there on entry on pits and failed 2 laps. But she also had a 1 minute pit stop, so that also definitely helped that equation, as well as Tony Iverson able to move to the inside of Joshua Barr to take over the race lead on lap 59 of 100. So 41 laps left until we get to the stage break. Joseph Volpus has about a 2-second, almost a 2.5-second lead over Jay Stinson, which is getting challenged by Kenneth Redinger to the inside of Jay Stinson. Take over 4th position. Well, I think I only have one thing to do, as everything has cycled and everything is extremely spread out. Extremely spread out, I do believe. So let's do a quick commercial. We'll do a live commercial here and see if that can jinx me and something bad happens. Oh, who was that going down pit road? Jonathan Wright going back down pit road. Yeah, we'll do side by side, and we would, just in case something crazy happens while this is playing, we'll keep it on crashes. What happened to... We're not going to switch just yet. I gotta do some research here. Let's go back and rewind and look at what happened to Andrew Bolander. I don't think anything happened to Bolander. I think he just called it a night. So there's that. And I think Jonathan Wright maybe had the same. He had that really rough entry and lost a whole lot of time going 2 laps down. Now it looks like that's going to be the same situation for him. Tony Iverson is your current race leader. Joshua Barr second. Joseph Volpus third. Kenneth Redinger is about a second behind Volpus, but is closing just ever so slightly. So yeah, we'll go side by side, and we'll do a quick commercial break here.
I got into this because I've always been into cars and racing. This is the way I can do it without breaking the bank. It's an adrenaline rush. You're sitting on the grid, you're feeling the vibration, your heart starts racing. Rally, drifting, Formula One, NASCAR, we're going to be on top of it and take good care of it.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Here at KK Woodscapes, we only work with the finest woods, the finest tools. We sand the wood here at KK Woodscapes. We stir the paint with a wooden stick here at KK Woodscapes. And then we brush the wood with a wooden brush here at KK Woodscapes. And when it's all said and done, we have these perfectly manicured nails. Put the plaques in the trophies, in the envelopes, ship them to your box, and on your way to you to commemorate your special day. Got wood, KK Woodscapes.
All right, I am back after that little ad spot here. Looks like Kenneth Redinger able to get by Joshua Barr. Kenneth Redinger has also pulled out a little bit on Joseph Volpus. Kenneth Redinger is also ever so slightly closing that gap to Tony Iverson. And to shout out one of those sponsors on there, we do have our affiliate links with SimMotion, Moser Racing, and Butt Kicker, which I didn't have a video on there for. But KK Woodscapes, he does a lot of our trophies and everything for these season championships, and Kevin does a whole lot of special stuff behind the scenes for a lot of these different leagues, like Moonlight Racing League and us, Bonfire Racing League. He's definitely around. You can find him on Instagram through KK Woodscapes. He does a whole lot of stuff. I have a few trophies from him. Definitely good stuff. Yeah, Magic. Most of the series and stuff, we do championship trophies and stuff like that. KK does a majority of them. Definitely pretty cool. Just that little extra little bit of excitement or drive to want to do good in the leagues or whatever. Looks like Redinger still closing up on Tony a little bit. He's not closing as fast as I thought he would be, though. Redinger was really closing up the gap, but Tony might be looking at that interval and being like, Mr. Redinger's coming. And in a few different series or whatever, these two guys have I don't even know how to say it, Brandon. Redinger and Iverson, they have butted heads, to say the least. I think Joshua Barr blinked out there a little bit, showed him going into pits, but I think everyone's still single filed out. Kenneth Redinger's leading the championship 6. Joseph Volpus, Jay Stinson, Justin Parham. Not sure what happened to Justin Parham. He was really, really strong there at the beginning. It looks like he's kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily fell off. We know he scraped the wall a little bit, but I don't think it was enough to really damage anything. It might just be dirty air that he's having to deal with that the car's not really cooperating with. Jay Stenson slowly closing that gap up to Joseph Volpus. Every time I think I get a decent camera, it goes to some other weird camera. It's hard for me to see what's going on. Eric Gambrell looking to the inside of Jay Stenson. I think everyone might still be being patient. We do have 24 laps. 26 laps probably, considering I can't do math very good until our stage break. And I think that's where the gloves are really going to come off. All these guys know that there's a reset coming. So really all you have to do is stay on the lead lap. And it don't really matter where you're running it right now, because that stage caution is going to reset everything. Fresh start, make sure you don't have no damage. As Joshua Barr coming down pit road. Eric Gambrell able to get around Jay Stenson, take over 4th position. Jay Stenson trying to fight back on the inside. Not really able to. Eric Gambrell using that little bit of a higher entry and using that banking to his advantage, trying to get that momentum with the late apex on the exit, and he handles this end of the track completely different than what he tried to do in 1 and 2. Joseph Volpus coming down pit road. I would imagine this is all going to be, maybe I miscounted tires somewhere. Dalton Connor with a 12-second stop. See what Volpus does here. If I think they're taking tires where they're not supposed to be taking tires, then they're going to run out of tires. I think I did miscalculate the tires. Tony Iverson down pit road, going to give the lead over to Kenneth Redinger. He was one of the cars. Redinger was one of the cars that kind of stayed out a little bit longer on that last green flag run. Him and Gambrell kind of on the same sequence of the lap numbers that they pit, with Jack Sanders being the last car out, currently running in 5th. See how long Redinger decides to stay out here, as he is in the lead with a almost 4-second gap to Gambrell. Boy, I do not like where that camera gets in the way of that tower. Man, it looked like Redinger was stuck on the tracker coming down pit road. Andrew Davis making his way into his pit stop. Everyone exiting. Kenneth Redinger, Eric Gambrell, Justin Parham, Jay Stenson, Jack Sanders is our 5 that have not pit yet. The Volpus working around Redinger to get his lap back. Right behind Joshua Barr. Yeah, I think it looks like maybe it's about 25 laps on set. I didn't talk to anyone before the race, because normally people I'll ask Joe or something what the field looks like, and he's like, I don't know, I haven't been on track yet. Justin Parra making his pit stop. So I just kind of assume, but it does look like it's about 25 to 30 laps on a on a tank of fuel at 70%, maybe. Maybe Brandon knows more than I do about that. Because I don't know if they're short pitting or if it's strategy pitting or if people's just running it all the way out. Because I know the last time Jack Sanders pit was on lap 55, and he's still running out there. So with him being pitting on lap 55 here in 5 laps or so, that'll be 30 laps on his field run. But Sanders, I know Sanders is being a field strategy type of guy. He likes to really push it out there as far as he can and try to chop some of those pit stops out. Eric Gambrell in his pit stall with the black flag. That's going to flip Eric upside down massively going into the stage caution. It will likely put him 1 lap down with a battle for the lucky dog between him and Connor. And I don't know if he's going to have enough time in 19 laps to make up the time to Connor to be able to get that lucky dog to his lap around. Andrew Davis just turned the fastest lap of the race with 38.90. 38.90. Everyone else kind of, let's see. Oh, I can't see what everyone's best lap time is. Kenneth Redinger making his pit stop. Jack Sanders going to take over the lead. Tony Iverson going to cycle into second once he comes around and gets around Redinger as he's doing his pit stop. Yeah, I think so. With the stage caution coming out on 100, and then you have 2 or 3 laps of pacing, so it's not really going to be 25. It's going to be like 22 laps to the end. I think so far Andrew Davis is the only the only car so far that has dipped into the 38s. Look at the best lap time, 39.39. Andrew Davis is currently sitting in 10th right there with that 38.903. Oh no, that's going to flip the... Oh... Looks like it was Jay Stinson. Or Jay Stinson was involved in something. Well, everyone cycled through their pit stop. So I don't think this is going to really... No, Jack Sanders is yet to pit. He was the only car out there still. But let's go back and look at what happened to Jay. Jay Stinson here on the outside, Parham to his inside. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe mechanical failure? Or I didn't go back far enough. Went back too far. Parham goes to his inside. Stinson goes off of the racing surface down towards the pits. But why was that a caution? Huh. I have no idea. I was expecting Jack Sanders, the one and only car making his way down pit road. That's going to, a lot of these guys staying out here is going to kind of help Jack Sanders because he's not bleeding all that time staying out. Stinson. Yeah, so it says Stinson is out. I really don't know what that was, Brandon. It's weird to see a caution fly for, and that was the only thing on my information. It just said Stinson. There was nothing else on here that would have pointed to anything as being Connor coming down pit road with a fuel only stop with a 6-second stop, it looks like. So we're going to cycle this. Everyone kind of has Kenneth Redinger of the top 5 is going to have the freshest tires as he pit back on lap 81, where Iverson, Bulpus, Barr, they were on 76, 75, 74 relatively. And Justin Parham back on 78. Tony Iverson elects to take the inside, giving Joseph Bulpus the outside. Kenneth Redinger outside, Joshua Barr inside. Oh yeah, iRacing, gotta love it. You know, one thing that I wish they would add, I wish they would add the choose, like NASCAR does in real life, to where you, whenever it comes to each row, you choose wherever you want to be in and not mess up. But do you remember all the struggles we had whenever iRacing first implemented the restart zone? That was, that was a nightmare and black flags galore as the pace lights are out on the pace car. Should have about 13 or 14 laps to the stage break here. Pace car down pit road. Tony Iverson, Joseph Bulpus. Green flag back in the air from Michigan International Speedway in the Thursday night thriller O'Reilly Series season finale. Tony Iverson getting a pretty sizable jump, being that control car. Joseph Bulpus getting challenged on the inside by Joshua Barr. Barr able to make that pass for second. Kenneth Redinger, Justin Parham side by side for 4th place. Danny Sanchez behind him. Andrew Davis on the outside, looking to send it, possibly making it through almost 3 wide. Everyone kind of gets in line and thinks better of it. Justin Parham still holding strong there on the inside of Kenneth Redinger. 2x2 here, battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th and 7th place, as Parham really tries to slide jobs his teammate. Kenneth Redinger looks to the inside, able to do a crossover move with that momentum on the outside. Kenneth Redinger sends it to the bottom, about 1 lane up. Danny Sanchez to the very bottom. Parham loses some, gets a little bit loose and loses some of that momentum, going to give Redinger the position over Parham. It's Danny Sanchez on the inside of Redinger. Oh, Tony Iverson able to pull out about a half of a second lead over Joshua Barr for the race lead. Joseph Bulpus about a half second back from Joshua Barr. The pretty exciting battle here is right here around Kenneth Redinger for 5th between Lewis Redinger, Andrew Davis. Parham's fallen back a little bit off of Redinger. has we have 10 laps to go until the stage break. Seems like everything's kind of settled back out again and all nice and single file. We do have a few people watching though, so if you guys are interested in racing a free league, check out MoonlightRacingLeague.com. Race Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Definitely a fun place to be with a lot of friendly people. Looks like Davis might be closing the gap a little bit to Sanchez and bringing Steve Lewis along with him. That last stop that Davis had was just a 2-tire stop, so nope, I'm a liar. Kenneth Redinger, Justin Parham, 12-second, 11-second. Dalton Connor had the fuel-only stop. Jack Sanders has been in the pits for an extended amount of time. What the world happened to Jack? Oh. I don't think anything happened to him. I think it's just my estimation on pit times were off. As his front group, they're all still single file. Some pretty exciting racing back here for 4th and 5th. As Andrew Davis and Danny Sanchez side by side with Steve Lewis just kind of lurking back there waiting for something to happen. Sanchez, oh. Sometimes the wall can be like a magnet and super hard to get off of. I think that's what we saw with Matt Novella earlier in the race, which is another, we have 2 of those Championship 6 contenders out of the race. Novella and Stinson both are get off of that camera because no bueno. Joseph Volpus currently leading the Championship 6 with Ken Redinger quite a few seconds back. Volpus had a little bit of had that 4-tire stop right there with Redinger just having the 2 tires. It might be a similar situation to what we saw with Davis earlier in the race, where he was able to really take advantage of those 4 tires. 6 laps to go until the stage caution at Michigan International Speedway. Tony Iverson with almost a 2-second lead over Joshua Barr. About 2.5 second lead over Joseph Volpus, sitting in 3rd. Andrew Davis about 2 seconds back from Volpus. And it's a whole lot of math that I don't really want to do in my head, but Redinger is about 6 seconds, 7 seconds back from Volpus. And Redinger would be your next Championship 6 contender closest to Volpus to for the season championship. Now we're on 5 to go in the season finale of the Thursday Night Thriller O'Reilly Series. Volpus closed the gap up to Joshua Barr a little bit. I don't know if Volpus wants to play it patient with 4 laps to go and just do what he needs to do to maintain his position, knowing that it's all going to get reset here in 4 laps, or if he wants to try to fight for that 2nd place. Iverson's been able to pull out almost a 3-second gap on Barr. Volpus running a different line, staying out of that dirty air. Volp is running really high, going to have quite a bit of momentum on the exit as Steve Lewis looking to the outside of Andrew Davis to take over 4th place. I think Volpus is just being patient here. Right now, he is the leader of the championship 6 drivers. As Danny Sanchez trying to work on Andrew Davis. Not quite close enough to do anything with it. With 2 to go, Tony Iverson, your current race leader. Joshua Barr 2nd, Joseph Volpus 3rd, Steve Lewis 4th, Andrew Davis 5th. Kenneth Redinger still holding on back there in 7th, Justin Parham 8th, Dalton Connor currently sitting in 10th. So we have 4 guys in it. 4 guys are still on the lead lap, even though they're pretty sizably spread out. White flag to the stage break. Tony Iverson has ran a pretty conservative race, I think, starting 1 lap down. Come to the stage, see how all this plays out for this little 22, 23 lap shootout that we have to look forward to. As Tony Iverson off of turn 4, going to take your stage win. Joshua Barr going to finish 2nd, Joseph Volpus 3rd, Steve Lewis 4th, and Andrew Davis going to round out your top 5 for the stage. So now we get to rack them up, reset them, and see how this shakes down as we have about 25 laps in this inaugural season as the pace car giving Tony a heart attack there flying up on him. I would imagine all these guys everyone's going to pit, everyone's going to take 4. We've seen how drastic the difference is between 4 and 2 with people kind of flipping their strategy. Eric Gambrill going to get his lap back, so he's going to end up back on the lead lap with all these guys, and then we are not going to have anyone a lap down, just to shake it up even more as everyone making their way down pit road. Nice clean entries under caution. No reason to speed or do anything crazy. Let's see how these pit stops, what people elect to do here. Because I'd imagine 4 tires and fuel, and get to the end. And this is where you kind of got to let the gloves come off and attack and get your season championship. As Danny Sanchez wins the race off pit road. Joshua Barr 2nd, Steve Lewis 3rd, Tony Iverson 4th, Joseph Volpus 5th. And Danny Sanchez had a 10-second stop. So if we look at this, going to be 2 tires. Steve Lewis, a 12-second stop. Stinson, 12-second stop. Eric Gambrill's stopping now. Let's see what his pit time looks like. Thinking 14 to 15 should be 4 tires. Lewis and Sanchez maybe trying the strategy call. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Lewis coming back down pit road for something, which is going to cycle him to the rear of the field. Where he comes back out. See what he does here. Maybe he forgot to have tires checked or something. Possibly something along those lines. So I might have my timing wrong for the 2 tires and fuel only, as we're 2 wide with Danny Sanchez, your leader, Joshua Barr on the outside. Sanchez elects to choose the inside, and as far as our championship 6 goes, we have Joseph Bulpus sitting in 4th currently on the outside. Justin Parham sitting in 6th on the outside. Kenneth Redinger to his inside, or no, to his outside. What the heck? The 98, the 18, the 19, the 24. Those 3 cars up there on the backside of that is our championship 6. As Danny Sanchez coming to the restart zone. Danny Sanchez is off. Green flag in the air from Michigan International Speedway and Thursday Night Thriller O'Reilly Series season finale. Sanchez gets split down the middle going into turn 1. All the gloves are off. Sanchez runs a little bit high, getting tight. Everyone keeps it clean. Tony Iverson takes over the lead. Andrew Davis in 2nd. Joseph Bulpus in 3rd. Justin Parham in 4th. Jack Sanders and the number 7 running in 5th. That's a pretty exciting start. As Parham challenging Bulpus. Bulpus is going to have that outside momentum off of 4. 21 laps to go in the season championship. Currently, your championship 6 leader is Joseph Bulpus, with the race leader being Tony Iverson. Bulpus looking to the outside to Davis, going to have a little bit of momentum, a little bit of a run. Ops not do anything with it just yet. If I'm Bulpus, I'm wanting to spread myself as far as I can away from Parham and Redinger and Connor. Those are the 4 guys that are still left in the race that are part of this championship 6. Bulpus has been able to pull away a little bit from Parham. Connor and Redinger are in a cluster back here with a whole bunch of 2 wide racing between Eric Gambrill and Steve Lewis. Connor getting stuck on the inside, going to have to come up. Redinger trying to make a hole on the outside. Redinger's blinking in and out, which is a very scary situation to be in, as Steve Lewis almost gets to experience what that is like whenever a car comes back into existence right on your nose. Tony Iverson has ran the fastest lap of the race so far with a 38.86. Barely squeezing out Andrew Davis that ran 38.9 earlier. Parham able to close that gap a little bit. Back up to Bulpus. Jack Sanders right on Parham's tail, though. Bulpus and Sanders, they race in the same Discord together, so I know teams aren't official in this series, but if you're a teammate with someone and you're in this position, you kind of you try to race that guy as hard as you can to try to, at least I would try to try to race Parham as hard as I can to make him burn up those tires and help my team out the best that I could. But again, teams aren't official in this series, so it's more about having a good time more than anything. That is absolutely right, Brandon. It is still anyone's game, and we have 17 laps to go. We've seen the tire fall off and how big of a difference that can make if you accidentally push just a little too hard too early and then you lose time. Right now, if you're any one of these Championship 6 drivers, the only people you're worried about are the ones that are part of that Championship 6 group. You don't really care who's leading. You don't care who's going to win the race, because at the end of the day, all you got to do is beat the person. You got to be the first out of the Championship 6, regardless on where you finish during the race. You just got to be ahead of them. This playoff bracket that we've had, that I've had the privilege to broadcast for this series, has been super fun to watch, with people getting knocked out and who moves on. Super exciting format to try to keep track of and see who's going to move on and who's going to do this or that. Kind of way different than the traditional playoff or chase style of races, as Jack Sanders gets really loose. Joshua Barr almost gets into the tail end of him. Keep it all nice and clean and straight. No harm, no foul, I don't think. I don't think Sanders got any damage off of that. That was way too fast for me to see, and that one's even faster. I think it was just a little bit of a scuffle. Got loose, lost some momentum, got ran over. Andrew Davis working on Tony Iverson here, as Davis clobbers the wall on the outside. Tony feeds him all kinds of dirty air. Joseph Volpus, Justin Parham, our Championship 6. Top 2 currently in this running order. About a half second separates them. And they pretty much just kind of maintained that gap with 13 to go. Still think it might be a little bit of a patience game as Volpus looks to the inside of Davis. Able to keep that momentum. That helps Volpus because it puts a car in between him and Parham. So now it's kind of like chess instead of checkers. Parham's going to get stuck side by side with... nope. Parham thinks better of it. Davis just gets out of the way of Parham. Parham has really closed up that gap to Volpus over that whole exchange. I was trying to predict what was happening and what was going on, and I was not doing a very good job of it. Volpus is only about a second off of the race lead. But he has Justin Parham right on his heels with 11 to go. About to be 10 to go once Tony Iverson makes his way off of turn 4. You know what we need? Justin Parham's really closing this gap up. We need a side-by-side finish again for the championship, I think. We need to make that happen as we have 10 to go from Michigan. And I think I'm just going to watch this battle right here and try to talk through it as Parham gets a nose to the inside quarter panel of Joseph Bulbus. This is a race for the championship. Bulbus sends it on the outside, drifting up a little bit. Parham might have enough to slide job him. Bulbus, oh, someone's loose in the back. Bulbus doesn't try a crossover and just kind of tucks in behind him. Just about had a caution there. I don't know who that was in the back, because looks like Parham got a little bit uneasy there on the exit of 2. Vulpes has a pretty sizable run going into 3. Vulpes backs it up a little bit. Should be able to come back to throttle a bit sooner. Parham pushes a little wide, but still maintaining that gap. Parham's worked out to about 0.3 of a second gap over Vulpes. Gambrel about a second behind Vulpes. I know Gambrel and Vulpes, they run in the same Discord too. Parham's closing the gap on Tony Iverson. About 0.6 of a second or so. As we're coming to 7 to go from Michigan International Speedway. So if you're Parham here, if you get to Iverson, which, if we look at their last times here, Parham's running about a 10th faster than Iverson is, and Vulpes is running about a 10th faster. They are only separated by 0.6. Parham's going to get there before the race is over, so do you try to race Tony for the win and slow yourself up? Because it's one thing to be racing in a straight line. It's a whole other thing to be trying to race side by side. And then you run the risk of potentially bringing Vulpes back up into the picture if you get stuck side by side with Tony, because it's not going to take very long for that gap to close up. So if I'm Parham, I'm going to probably, oh no, he scraped the wall again. Going to hurt the exit momentum a little bit, but doesn't look like it was too much to damage the car or anything. This might be getting close enough to Iverson here to start to feel some of those effects of dirty air, maybe. Or he has Vulpes right in his rearview mirror that he knows is an extremely fast, consistent fellow competitor. I think, if I remember the stats right, Brandon, you might be able to correct me if you're still watching, but I think Vulpes has something like 500 starts in the Moonlight Racing League and all of its series and everything. I think that was a stat that I seen a while back. So Vulpes definitely been around for a while when it comes to Moonlight. Justin Parham still maintaining that half of a second gap. We'll have to see if Magic, I know you've been pulling for Parham this whole race. You kind of called him out there at the beginning as who your pick was. Yeah, it looks like right now is we're 3 to go from Michigan International Speedway. That pick might be the way this plays out. Kenneth Redinger making up a little bit of time on Volpus as he moves into 4th place, but he's still about a second back there, and I don't know if 2 laps is going to be enough to do anything for Redinger after his extremely dominant race that he had last week at Charlotte. Parham's been able to pull out almost a second gap over Volpus as we're 2 to go from Michigan in the Thursday Night Thriller O'Reilly Series. Everything's kind of settled out here. A little bit of racing between Joshua Barr and Andrew Davis, but Tony Iverson getting ready to take this white flag and make this official as we are 1 to go from Michigan International Speedway and Thursday Night Thriller O'Reilly Series season finale. Justin Parham able to catch up a little bit to Tony Iverson, but still just being cautious. Something happened to Volpus, I believe, that has allowed Parham to jump up to over a 1.5 gap back to him. As Tony Iverson making his way off of turn 4 with Justin Parham in tow. Tony Iverson is going to be your race winner from Michigan, but Justin Parham is going to take your season, I guess if we could call this a season 1 championship in this format of the Thursday Night Thriller O'Reilly Series. They'll have to do a double burnout here. Definitely congratulations to Parham on wrapping up that season championship. I wish I could have covered this whole season. But I came in 3 or 4 races before this playoff bracket started, when I told Brandon that I wanted to cover it. Parham doing his thing and burning it down. Let's see if I can find that is not what, that is even worse. What in the heck is going on? We'll just have to run with that camera right there. Got Parham burning it down for his season championship. Got Tony Iverson burning it down for his race win. Nice to see Tony come out here and have a good time as well. Well, Magic, these last 3 or 4 races, it's been a blast. We'll go ahead and look at the race results that I forgot to do every single time. We'll look at that, and then I don't know how long of an off season there'll be, but starting next season, I'll be back broadcasting this live. Normally, we have a few weeks off. Look at the race results. Taking your race win tonight from Michigan International Speedway's Tony Iverson and number 13 Racing Tyrants Chevy. Justin Parham is going to be your 2nd place finisher for the race, but he has plenty to celebrate with that season championship and the number 19 Grandstand Racing Machine. Joseph Volpe is going to finish 3rd. Kenneth Redinger 4th after his extremely dominant race last week at Charlotte. Eric Gambrill comes in 5th after his little bit of a spin that brought out that first caution. Steve Lewis 6th, Andrew Davis 7th, Joshua Barr 8th, Jack Sanders 9th, Dalton Connor going to round out your top 10. Danny Sanchez 11th, Jay Stinson 12th, Matt Novella 13th. Those 2 guys part of the championship 6 drivers. However, they had some unfortunate mishaps and kind of caught on the wrong end of the stick tonight and ended up 44 and 55 laps down respectively. Andrew Bolander and number 8 finishing 14th, 66 laps down. Jonathan Wright 15th, 68 laps down. And John Beverly 16th, 15th. What the heck am I doing? I'm getting lost in my own numbers. I think we had more cars than that, though. Oh, no, I guess we didn't have more cars than that. John Beverly is going to round out your field 90 laps down in the number 17 and 16th position. Thank you, Magic. It's been fun. I've tried to pay attention to chat. I definitely appreciate you being here the last 3 weeks with me and giving me something to talk about. Trying to fly solo in the booth is kind of rough after I'm not really a commentator myself anyways. Just something that I thought would be fun to do and do for the league and do for Brandon and all that stuff. So I definitely appreciate you being here. Hopefully I'll see you around next season. I'll be making some community posts or whatever to keep up with that stuff because this series for Thursday is the only one of all of our series we run that gets broadcasted on this channel. All the other series that we run are broadcasted on Vortex Racing Network for Monday and Wednesday, and then Tuesday and Friday are broadcasted on Extreme Racing TV. I think it's Extreme Racing TV. Let me see here. Let me double check that before I tell you something wrong, because there is ways to watch all the other series that the league does. Extreme Sim TV is who the Tuesday night Throwdown Series, Truck Series, and the Friday night ARCA Series is broadcasted by. The Next Gen Mondays and the Wednesday night DDI Moonlight Truck Series is done on Vortex Racing Network. Well, that's going to close out this season. Again, congratulations to Justin Parham on season championship. Congratulations to Tony Iverson on his race win tonight as a one-off showing. This is going to do it for me in the booth. You've been watching Buddy the Professor on MRL Broadcasting. This has been an absolute blast with the Moonlight Racing League Thursday Night Thriller Series, O'Reilly Series. I will see you guys next season.